Good morning and welcome to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. As a courtesy to others, please turn off cell phones or other electronic devices which may disrupt the meeting. If attending via Zoom, please have your microphones muted at all times when you're not speaking. All items on the agenda, other than correspondence and board and staff member reports, are considered items for which the board may take action. The board will be given the public, will be given an opportunity to comment on action items on the agenda when the item is heard, and comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. We're going to start off this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Fletcher, will you lead us in that, please?
Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Next is roll call, Mary.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Here.
Supervisor Blazer,
Here.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Here.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up is a chair of the board statement. So I'm going to reflect a little bit on 2021. We started off 2021 by saying goodbye to Supervisors Lofton and Leahy and welcoming Supervisors Blazer and Fuhr to our team. After about a year of meeting remotely due to COVID, we returned to in-person meetings in April. It was great to be back in person, but I'm also proud of the fact that we continue to provide opportunities to participate remotely via Zoom. This approach maximizes our accessibility for the public while allowing flexibility for staff and board members when needed. It's my hope that the legislature modernizes the Brown Act to allow this approach to continue indefinitely. I will continue to advocate for that. We've accomplished many things this year, but I just want to highlight a few items in 5 key areas. With respect to redistricting, we unanimously adopted an updated supervisorial district map that aligned with the vast majority of the input we received. With respect to homelessness and housing, we worked with partners to break ground on the Cedar Lane Affordable Housing Project and 2 permanent supportive housing projects in the community of Linda. We saw increased development in Edgewater and Plumas Lake. With respect to transportation infrastructure, we performed slurry seal on 25 miles of roadway and 5 CSAs. We rehabilitated and performed overlays on 14.5 miles of county roads thanks to gas tax revenue. We awarded a contract for the North Beale Road Complete Streets Phase 2. We added sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and new pavement to 11th Avenue and Olivehurst. And one of my personal favorites, we completed the rehabilitation of Ostrom Road, a primary route to our largest employer, Beale Air Force Base. With respect to economic development, we worked with Yuba Water Agency and Trilla to lower levy impact fees by over 50% and reduce property taxes associated with completed levy work. We negotiated an MOU with Enterprise Rancheria that resulted in almost $2 million in additional revenue to the county to cover public safety and infrastructure impacts resulting from the project and the expansion that's currently underway. We established the Yes to Yuba initiative to provide concierge service to businesses in Yuba County looking to grow or to those who are looking to move their business to Yuba County. We passed a resolution to support a regional effort by Yuba County, Yuba Water Agency, OPUD, and the city of Wheatland to bring water and wastewater to the Highway 65 corridor, including the city of Wheatland, to support future development and economic growth in the South County. With respect to public safety, we broke ground on the new Tri-County Juvenile Hall. And thanks to ongoing Measure K revenue, we were able to allocate $1.2 million to our Yuba County fire districts, $3.6 million to the Sheriff's Office, District Attorney, and Probation, plus an additional $1.2 million for other county public safety and essential services functions in this year's budget. Measure K revenue will allow the Sheriff's Department to add 26 new positions. I want to thank county staff for your efforts in accomplishing these things and much more, and for helping us take care of our constituents every single day. I also want to thank my fellow board members for all of their efforts this year. While we may not always agree, we've shown we can still get along and work together for the benefit of Yuba County. That is a critical component of a functioning board and a functioning government. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as your chair in 2021, and I'm looking forward to more great accomplishments in 2022. So with that, Mary, I'll turn it over to you for election of the 2022 chair and vice chair.
Thank you, Gary. This is a time and place for nominations for the chairman of the Board of Supervisors.
I will nominate Randy Fletcher
For chair of the board?
for chair.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, we will not take the second motion yet. I will go ahead and repeat 3 times. Are there any further nominations for chairman? Are there any further nominations for chairman? Are there any further nominations for chairman? I will now take a motion and a second, please.
Nominate the motion for nominating Randy Fletcher for chair of the board.
And I'll second.
I will now take a roll call vote on that, please. Supervisor Vasquez?
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford?
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. I will now take nomination for vice chairman of the Board of Supervisors.
I will nominate Supervisor Andy Vasquez.
I'll second that.
I will go ahead and repeat the nomination for vice chairman 3 times. Are there any further nominations for vice chairman? Are there any further nominations for vice chairman? Are there any further nominations for vice chairman? There being no further nominations for the office of vice chairman, the nominations are hereby declared closed. I will go ahead and take first. I will go ahead and take a first and a second, please.
You can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to nominate Andy Vasquez as vice chair. I'll second that.
I will go ahead and take a roll call vote on that. Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
With that, the nominations are declared closed. I will go ahead and the election of the officers for the year of 2022 have been concluded. I hereby declare the reorganization portion of this meeting adjourned and turn the gavel over to Chairman Fletcher.
Great, thank you. I now have a gavel. You're in trouble. So let's move right into consent agenda.
Move to approve.
I have a first.
I will second.
Any comment from the public? Any comment from the board? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Moving on to public communications. Mary?
Any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. If you are participating via Zoom and wish to comment, please use the raise hand function or *9 if participating on a phone. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. And through the chair, we do have 4 cards here. I will go ahead and call the first person, who is Tom McWhorter.
Good morning, Supervisors.
Good morning.
And I have to apologize on the card. I put measure M, it's actually K. So if we could please fix that for the record, sorry. I was here a couple months ago and was asked about the status of that. And as far as that tax is going and the lawsuits that are in process. And I just wondered if the board had come up with a plan once the lawsuit is lost in the taxpayer's favor, how are you going to refund me my $13.27? I'm sure I'm not the largest contributor to this tax. I don't know, maybe you guys have a threshold. You won't get a refund unless you can prove that you got taxed over $1,000 or, you know, some number. But I would just advise that, you know, the Boy Scouts always say, be prepared. And so hopefully you've got a plan B. And, you know, next time if someone wants to put a tax like that on the ballot, be a little bit more clear whether it's going to be a 50% plus one or 2/3. None of this gray area. I don't like spending money on lawyers for something that should have been a simple decision. So anyway, have a nice week. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Next person we have is Charles Sharp.
Yes, good morning, Charles Sharp. I hope everyone is doing well today. In October, Fred Mitchell, North Yuba Water District Director for Division 2, sold his house and moved to another county. This made him ineligible to be a director. The law says the district has 60 days to appoint a replacement for the vacant position. This past 60 days, and the law says it is now up to the county to appoint a successor. I don't think there's any going back. The district failed to do its due diligence, and the law says the county is now obligated to appoint someone. With that in mind, I know that Bruce Health would like to apply for the position. Bruce is a resident of Dobbins and is qualified to be a director of the North Yuba Water District Board. He actually ran for the position in November 2020. By the way, the North Yuba Water District will have 4 seats up for election in November. These seats are now held by appointees, and by law, an appointee's term ends with the next election. And I'm sure the county's election department is aware of this. With that, I must go. Thank you for your time.
Next person we have is Chris A.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Matt? Okay. I'm here with a warning, but first I will tell a little story. Earlier in the spring, I was sitting on my porch contemplating. I've owned my properties for 7 years, and I was contemplating quitting my job elsewhere, starting a business here, and starting a family here. And as I was sitting on the porch thinking about that, I heard for the first time in my life in person fully automatic gunfire. And then 5 minutes later, I heard it again from somewhere else. These are illegal growers that are cartel. If you haven't been keeping up on the news, they are cartel moving from Mexico up here because it's easier. And it is people like me are at our rope's end, and okay, let me go back a little bit. After that, I list my property. I went to my real estate agent and listed one of my property. I asked her to list one of my properties. She gave me a price. I said, no, double it. She said, I won't do it. I listed it myself for double what she said it was worth. I got 5 calls a day, every day for 10 days, all cash buyers wanting to make a deal. I changed the ad and said I was going to put a covenant in that there would not be any illegal growing or no marijuana cultivation allowed. All calls stopped. I lowered the price, $100,000, not a single call. So that tells you who's moving in to our county. And every property that's sold on my road, 5 mile long road, has been growers in the last 2-3 years, every single one. There's been no enforcement this last year, almost no enforcement, because we don't have any money to do it. There was an ordinance in 2012, you guys know this, that opened the door for growers to come in and grow legally. 2015, it got ripped out from under them and turned them all into criminals. Most of those people who moved here to operate legally sold their places to illegal growers. And now we have this problem that is spiraling out of control. It is getting worse and worse and worse. So we need to revisit our strategy here. It is not working. It's not working. You know, and to be honest, the way that was done with the urgency ordinance, we all know that was only done to circumvent the right. This is a land use issue. This was a zoning issue. And it was done as an urgency ordinance to circumvent the constitutional right of referendum from the citizens. You're not the only, this county isn't the only one to do it, and it is causing havoc throughout the state. It is fueling the black market. All right, my time is up, but please, please, please take this seriously, or else this county is going to go to hell in a handbasket. Thank you.
Through the chair, we don't normally make a remark, but you might consider calling the sheriff and discussing your problem with him. Okay, thank you very much.
So Chris, if you would also send me an email, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Next person we have is Tambra Courtwright.
Hi, good morning supervisors and Yuba County. Life has not afforded me the ability to be at a lot of these meetings. I plan to remedy that. And one of the questions for me that arose right away was the fact that this committee, this meeting has a Pledge of Allegiance and does not have an invocation. And my understanding, I think an invocation, God first, government, country second, is a better way to approach things. So I'm going to do an invocation. Lord, I thank you for this county. I thank you for what you're going to do in this county. I thank you that you have your hand on the people and that you have plans and purposes. I pray that you would move amongst the people, that you would move people out that need to be moved out and move people in that need to be moved in, as far as the population and in the government seats. I thank you that you are sovereign and that you have a plan and a purpose in Jesus' name. And then I also would like to just address, I thank you very much for having open meetings and the ability to be here as a citizen in person. And I can appreciate that this works for some people. I will not discount that, but it is very important that we can be here in person. And that takes precedence over this every day, in my opinion. And that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Through the chair, no further cards.
Are there any Zoom meeting?
No, no one through Zoom also.
Very good. Moving on to county departments under 682, 2021 Board of Supervisors, consider the removal of Danielle Lubbock, District 1 Commissioner for the Yuba County Planning Commission.
Okay.
We have a presentation from,
Well, I have a comment to make. All right. In 2009, Danielle was my nominee to represent First District on the Planning Commission. While I appreciate the work she's done for the county, I'm at a point where I've lost confidence that our approaches to planning and development in the county are in alignment. I'm asking this board to allow me to nominate a different individual for the Planning Commission to represent the First District by removing Danielle from the position of Planning Commissioner. I'll make that motion.
comments from the board. When would her term normally be up?
Doesn't matter. It's,
Did it run consistent with your term or not?
no.
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 Okay.
I make-
Comments from the public? Yes. Do you have a card? Okay. Yeah, please come up. And your name?
My name's Tom McWhorter. Andy's requested you guys remove this commissioner, Danielle, and I'd like to know what the differences are. Are not opposing viewpoints encouraged in the United States? And can't we all just get along? But no, if we can't, we just throw the obstacle overboard. I'd like to know exactly what is the disagreement.
Well, that's, I think I'll let county council address that.
Love these masks. Yes, sir. Thank you. And with the chair's permission, the board member or the commission members serve at the pleasure of the board. And if a board member loses confidence in their appointee or the board's appointee at their nomination, they have the right to request that the board remove that individual. As at least one court has said, a second or third level administrator, which would be a subordinate to this board, bears to his superiors a relationship of the most intimate nature, requiring complete trust by the top administrators in the judgment and cooperative nature of the subordinate. The loss of that trust is not a matter susceptible of proof, such as is involved in the cases where a classroom teacher is dismissed or demoted for objective acts of misconduct. And in there, the court is recognizing that when someone serves at the pleasure of the board, there can be no reason at all. It is simply a loss of trust that is sufficient in and of itself. Typically, from a personnel standpoint, when I was advising on personnel matters and we were discussing the release of at-will employees, the advice was always do not give a specific reason. You don't want to create conflict, nor do you want to in any way implicate a liberty interest that might arise. So I think what Supervisor Vasquez has said is he has lost trust that they share a vision for the county, and my counsel would be that is sufficient. If you'd like to have discussions offline with anyone, that would be perfectly fine. But for our purposes today, I think Supervisor Vasquez has met the call of our ordinance and statutory requirements.
So just hide instead of explaining the matter and possibly smoothing the issue out. You
I
just-
think my statement that I lost confidence in our goals covers it pretty much.
I disagree, Andy.
Well,
So,
you're
and like I
you're
said,
entitled.
opposing viewpoints are what it's all about. So
Thank
anyway,
Okay, any questions from the board? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Do I have a second from Gary?
It is.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
No.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Moving right along, correspondence, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. From the board and staff. Comments? Andy?
Well, it's different being in the stands now instead of front of things. It's been a wild year. I think we've accomplished a number of things that have pointed Yuba County to growth in in a state that is not growing as it should. And I really enjoyed the journey, and I enjoyed the board working toward common goals. So thank you.
Moving down the line,
Don?
Don.
Thank you, Gary, for reminding us of all the things we did accomplish. They stack up and you can't remember all of them, but we actually did a lot of positive things last year. I also appreciate public comment. That's the whole point of being here, I think. It's good to have a little bit of disagreement now and then. It just raises more questions. So I'm looking forward to moving forward because I think we have once again, a nice collection of supervisors. So I'm looking forward to the next year. Thanks.
Seth.
Thank you, Gary, for your service. You did a great job. As my first year, I appreciated you being the chair. And again, I want to thank staff again for always their prompt response to my questions, helping clarify issues I have. And I do like seeing all of the faces out here for the meetings and their comments. Having the invocation today was very nice. Thank you.
Very good. From the CIO's office, Sean.
I just want to acknowledge all the staff that worked with our low snow event for December, specifically the road crew, did some long hours and a lot of plowing on the roads. So we're very appreciative of that. And also to Yuba County Office of Ed and the Water Agency, who also provided some great assistance to help out the folks in Camptonville. That's all for CAO.
Thanks. From County Council.
Nothing. Thank you, Chair.
Very good. Mary, any comments?
Nothing, thank you.
So if I might, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and kind of also reflect back. A great presentation, Gary. I've forgotten how much stuff we did go through, considering COVID and all the work that happened that is mostly presented to the board and staff and all the great work they've done. So 5 years ago, I was chairman of the board, 2017. And we started that year off with the evacuation, the Oroville Dam incident. And then we moved into the fall with the fire, the Cascade Fire. A pretty active year that year. This year, we've started off with the snow in the foothills, power outage, road closures, and a bit of a mess. I really want to thank staff for all their hard work, long hours. Amazing what they accomplished. And let me add to that the support from PG&E. I think they've done a tremendous job in the foothills in all their support in Yuba County, especially Jeff Lee, who worked closely with our OES and accomplished a great deal. CCP, the Superintendent of Schools, Francisco Rivelis, thank you for your time and energy in coordination and making Yuba County a better place to live. Over the past 7 years, I've learned the importance of teamwork and how hard our county employees work. On behalf of the public, I really want to thank you, the employees, for your dedication and hard work. I've also learned what it takes to get projects done, particularly in Yuba County. And that's local planning, local control, and funding from multiple sources. In 2022, I'll be focused on 3 particular items: fire safety, water issues, and broadband. To accomplish these goals, I'll need the support from the full board, staff, specific volunteer groups like the RCRC, Fire Safe Council, fire departments, the volunteer fire departments, and the public. I really look forward to a non-eventful emergency year in Yuba County, but accomplishing a great deal if we can get it done. So again, Gary, thank you very much for your time last year. A lot of work. We had challenges. And hopefully we don't have as many challenges, but a lot of good projects that we can accomplish this year. From there, we will move into closed session. We have 2 items that we'll be covering.
since it's in the,
Through the chair, if I
Yes.
may, we did receive one public comment. I know public comment is passed, not sure if we can take the comment or not.
sure, let's, I think we've got the time to do that.
Okay, so we will call Donna Wahlberg.
Good morning, everybody,
Good morning.
and Happy New Year.
Happy New
It's
Year.
already gone past. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on the meeting time. I read the agenda and I was very much interested in item number 688, 2021, the California Mutual Aid County and Intramedical Health Agreement. And so I got here and I just looked at the agenda. It was on for 8:45, and the meeting starts at 9. So I kind of overlooked that because the top of the agenda, it says 9:00 a.m. So that kind of snuck by me. I'm kind of curious what happened on that. Did you guys approve it? I guess I can find out, but
Moved from the consent agenda.
thank God. So it was not determined yet. It was not agreed on.
It just gets moved to the next general meeting.
Perfect, because I very much want to comment on that. So thank you. Just set my mind at ease. Thank you all
You're
for being
welcome.
here.
Okay. So from here, we'll be moving into closed session.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, prior to moving into closed session, just a brief amendment to the agenda item 3/2022. In the closed session item, it identifies County Administrator Kevin Mullen or designee as the negotiator. In our open session item, the board appointed Mike Lee and Dan Peterson as the negotiators for the county. So I would ask that we amend that agenda item designation to be negotiators, Mike Lee and or Dan Peterson.
Very good. Do you need a motion on that?
We do not need a motion. I just need to clarify it for the record so that the record is clear as to who the negotiators are.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think there was one more question.
Sure. Good morning. And your name?
Comment. Ann Schumacher, longtime resident of Yuba County. Anyways, my heart is here, very much so. I just wanted to say that I know there's a lot of, money that goes into, I guess, actually, maybe it's not even expensive, but emergency contact things where we'll get text messages. Let's just say there's something going on. And I have an idea, because we want the public to be involved and to know what's going on. And some people, it's kind of tough to make it down here. If they could get a text message saying, hey, there's a supervisor meeting going on right now, and this is is on the agenda, or city council, or, school, or just the way it's a notice, because we're all busy, but we all also need to be involved, want to be involved. And it would just be another reminder of something important going on. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. I don't think it would take a lot to implement something like that, just like they do, like I said, some kind of an emergency or Amber Alert or something like that. So anyways, I don't know what you guys
Okay.
think about that. Maybe you don't, want people to see, but anyways, all right, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
If I could make a comment, trying to get a hold of people is kind of like herding cats. And it's very difficult because of the amount of media that they have. And we try as supervisors to spend our money to try and notify the constituents. We just haven't figured out a way that covers everybody. I've got a radio show that runs for 2 hours on Sunday. Other people put out flyers. It's very difficult to get a hold of people because we are busy.
Well, text messaging seems really easy, and some people obviously miss some of their text messages. I get tons of text messages, but they do utilize text messaging.
I'm just saying, not everybody does text. And not everybody pays attention to the text.
Yeah. I mean, it's one way, but it
So
could also be
I'm
like linked to an
just-
email.
I'm just telling you, there are different avenues we're trying so that we can reach all the people. That's why we're open. That's
Yeah,
fine.
Feel free to give me a
Maybe it's
call.
like an opt-in, some kind of opt-in or,
Feel free to give me a call or a text and we can talk about that.
okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that very
Bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Sorry about that. There was a magic button we could touch it, but